Hello, we are team number 4 and proudly presenting our business pitch to Mr. Adams of American Airlines. Our members include Jared Aiello, Jacob Ruth, Curran Page, Nick Kane, Alex Costa, and Jeff Brienza. We greatly hope that you enjoy our presentation.
Two great companies, U.S. Airways and American Airlines,
are coming together to become one world-class airline, the New American.
Together, we are building the world's largest airline, with a global network serving more than 336 destinations in 56 countries.
And together, we stand committed to building a better American.
With every flight we book,
Every bag we check,
Every customer we serve,
with every takeoff and landing,
every one of us is doing our best to build the New American.
the New American.
The New American.
The New American.
Hello, my name is Jared Aiello and I'm going to be presenting change in an organization. One of the most important models of change that has ever been created was invented by Kurt Lewin, and it is entitled Lewin's Change Model. This change model has 3 stages: unfreezing, changing, and refreezing. In the first stage of unfreezing, you begin to prepare employees for the change that is about to occur. It ensures that employees are ready for the change and ready to undergo anything that is going to happen in the organization. The next model, changing, is where you execute the intended change. You are integrating the 2 companies together using some of the various components that we will discuss later. In the final stage, refreezing, you ensure that the change that was implemented in the previous stage becomes permanent. This is where you assist employees in understanding and adhering to the new changes that were implemented, and you allow them to exemplify them in the future. The Lewin model of change is one of the most highly recognized models of change, and it is used by companies everywhere. By using this model, you can implement a very seamless shift between U.S. Airways and American Airlines. There are several tools that you can use to help implement and foster change. The first of which is implementing a clear vision and mission statement of the new merged organization. By creating a mission statement and a vision of what is ahead, you can perfectly describe what the company's future aspirations and goals are. The final tool, which is useful for implementing change, is identified as the target elements of change. These are the changeable components within your organization and can include organizational structure and several financial matters, for example.
Hi, I'm Curran Page, and I'll be talking about the steps leading to organizational change. Step 1 is to establish a sense of urgency within the organization. To do this, you'll need to unfreeze the organization by creating a compelling reason for why change is needed. Step 2 is to create a guiding coalition. To do this, you'll need to create a cross-functional, cross-level group of people with enough power to lead the change. Step 3 is to develop a vision and strategy. You'll need to do this by creating a vision and a strategic plan to guide the change process. Step 4 is to communicate the change vision. To this, you'll need to create and implement a communication strategy that consistently communicates the new vision and strategic plan. Step 5 is empowering broad-based action. This will eliminate barriers to change and use target elements of change to transform the organization. You should encourage risk-taking and creative problem-solving during this step. Step 6 is to generate short-term wins. Plan for and create short-term wins or improvements. Recognize and reward people who contribute to the wins. Step 7 is to consolidate gains and produce more change. During this step, the guiding coalition uses credibility from short-term wins to create more change. Additional people are brought into the change process, and change cascades throughout the organization. Attempts are made to reinvigorate the change process. Last but not least, step 8 is to anchor new approaches in the culture. This is reinforcing the changes by highlighting connections between new behaviors and processes and organizational success. Develop methods to ensure leadership development and succession.
This merger will consist of two mechanistic organizations, which means it is made up of rigid bureaucracies with strict rules, narrowly defined tasks, and top-down communication. We see an open system with this type of company. It depends on constant interaction with the environment for survival, such as customer satisfaction. The decision-making will be centralized, therefore key decisions will be made by the top management. The most efficient company structure for this partnership is the matrix structure. It combines functional and divisional chains of command to form a grid with two command structures, one shown horizontally according to function, the other shown vertically by geographic region. Each subordinate will report to both the vice president of their sector and the regional manager.
The last term I'd like to start off with is what an organization chart is, and that is a graphic representation of formal authority and division of labor relationships. My name's Alex, and I am going to be talking to you about designing effective organizations. To start, I would like to define a few terms that are key to designing an effective organization. First, an organization is a system of consciously coordinated activities or forces of two or more persons. Second, unity of command principle, and that specifies that each employee should only report to one manager.
There are 4 dimensions of organizational effectiveness. First, goal accomplishment. This is when an organization achieves its stated goals. It is the most widely used effectiveness criterion for organizations. Second is resource acquisition. It is when the organization acquires the resource it needs. It is deemed effective in this regard if it acquires necessary factors of production, such as raw materials, labor, capital, and managerial and technical expertise. The third dimension is internal processes. This ensures the organization functions smoothly with minimum internal strain. Lastly, we have strategic constituencies. This ensures the demands and expectations of key interest groups are at least minimally satisfied. It is aimed at any group of individuals who have some stake in the organization.
Hello, my name is Nicholas Kane, and I will be talking to you today about different ways to influence your new employees and different types of power you should have within your new merged company. Different type of influences are rational persuasion, which is trying to convince someone with reason, logic, or facts. Inspirational appeals, which is trying to build enthusiasm by appealing to others' emotions, ideals, or values. Consultation, which is getting others to participate in planning, making decisions, and changes. Ingratiation, which is getting someone in a good mood prior to making a request, being friendly, helpful, and using praise, flattery, or humor. Personal appeals, which is referring to friendship and loyalty when making a request. Exchange, which is making explicit or implied promises and trading favors. Coalition tactics, which is getting others to support your efforts to persuade someone. Pressure, which is demanding compliance or using intimidation or threats. And finally, legitimating tactics, which is basing a request on one's authority or right, organizational rules or policies, or explicit or implied support from superiors. Research has shown that ingratiation can improve your sales in the short term, but overall it reduces long-term sale, so you may want to stay away from this tactic. Your employees are more likely to accept change if you use a consultative strategy. And pressure and coalition tactics can work, but do not work as well as rational persuasion, consultation, collaboration, and inspirational appeal. A good way to have your employees influenced is by having them like you, having them reciprocate your ideas, having social proof, which is people tending to follow the lead of those most like themselves, consistency within the company, good authority, and scarcity, which is people want to have information and opportunities that are limited to others. Next, I will tell you about 5 different powers that you can run your company by. Reward power is where managers can obtain compliance by promising or granting rewards. Next is coercive power, which is threats or punishments, and actual punishment given to an individual. Legitimate power may express either positively or negatively. Positively legitimate power focuses constructively on job performance, while negative legitimate power, in contrast, tends to be threatening or demanding to those being influenced. Expert power is valued knowledge or information that gives an individual power. And finally, referent power comes into play when one's personal characteristics become the reason for compliance. Research shows that expert and referent power have generally a positive effect. Reward and legitimate power have a slightly positive effect, and coercive power has a slightly negative effect. My suggestion to you is to have an expert and referent power while also trusting your employees. Let them know you have the power, but giving them power in some situations can lead to better communication throughout the company. To follow this structure, you must have a win-win attitude. With your expert power, make sure you give employees the right training and development so they can make the right decisions. Don't be afraid to share information with them because they can help further the company. Overall, you must trust your employees, but make sure you still have control on the overall situation.
When enacting this merger, managing employees in these 3 regards will make the transition easy as pie. To prevent politics from interrupting the new organization, clear away any uncertainty in employees' minds. First, it's important to make your objectives clear and that they are communicated concisely. It is also important to make sure employees are all being evaluated both fairly and accurately. Listen to employees' complaints about supervisors, especially in regards to any questionable decision-making practices or behaviors. Monitor the competitive nature of the workplace, individuals, or groups to ensure that it is entirely productive instead of destructive to the organization. Managing the internal impressions of an organization is important to the functionality of the organization. Some key bad impressions for employees to avoid are doing the minimum amount of work acceptable, maintaining a negative attitude in the workplace, overcommitting to projects or tasks, lacking any kind of initiative, and delivering bad news later than they should. Popular trends of impressions seen around the workplace vary depending on what the impression is centered around. Employees can or may try to influence how their performance is seen, playing up how much work they do or how important their work is. Similarly, employees may try to influence their supervisor's perception of them, usually with the goal to be looked upon more favorably than other employees. There is also the impression of how one presents his or herself around the workplace. It's important to stay ahead of the impressions employees form and actively create good impressions. A good impression of an organization can begin with assigning employees challenging work instead of quick, easy tasks. Giving employees autonomy in the work and their decisions prevents the negative micromanaging impression from forming. Listening to employees and supporting their feedback is a good way to prevent the impression that management is out of touch or ignores its workers. Providing active leadership is an effective way of implementing and maintaining good impressions. Setting clear goals provides the impression that the organization has a plan and is always moving towards something. Finally, it is important to admit past or present mistakes, take responsibility, and to apologize when necessary. An organization that promotes the empowerment of its employees also promotes the growth and potential of the organization itself. Providing employees with access to development and training programs is one of the best ways to promote personal empowerment in an organization. Communicating clearly and openly with employees promotes feelings of trust and the power of being included. Furthermore, implementing more democratic and group-based decisions empowers the employee with some sense of control over their environment. Lastly, it's important to promote a positive environment to not only allow, but to encourage employees to grow and empower themselves.
Next, I would like to tell you about the 4 basic dimensions of organizational structures. Number 1, hierarchy of authority. Number 2, divisions of labor. Number 3, spans of control, which refers to the number of people reporting directly to a given manager. Number 4, line and staff positions, or staff personnel, and they do background research and provide technical advice and recommendations to their line managers. In regards to a horizontal organization, which means that decision-making is spread between workers on a horizontal line, there are 5 principles that allow this to happen successfully. Number 1, organize around complete workflow processes rather than other tasks. Number 2, flatten hierarchy and use terms to manage everything. Number 3, appoint processes, team leaders to manage internal team processes. Number 4, let supplier and customer contact drive performance. Number 5, provide required expertise from outside the team as required.
The deal creating the world's largest airline became official today.
American Airlines and U.S. Airways have completed their merger.
The combined carrier flies 1,500 planes and employs more than 100,000 people.
The CEOs of the 2 companies rang the Nasdaq's opening bell this morning to celebrate the ticker AAL, the new name American.
Our goal here is to restore American Airlines to its position as the greatest airline in the world. This merger is great for consumers. It provides the ability for us to combine 2 airlines and to fly to even more places than either airline can independently. Early in January, our frequent flyers will see the ability to earn and burn miles on either airline into one program. You'll be able to see things like being able to get your upgrades on either carrier. You'll shortly thereafter be able to see the ability to, through code sharing, fly on either network seamlessly. We're putting together 2 airlines that are highly complementary and not reducing the supply of seats. So nothing about this merger should affect prices.
I was so reassured that Doug Parker said the rates won't go up. You're feeling good. So good for the consumer.
Competition's good. I mean, keep the fares in line, better service, more flights.
It's very positive, and you know what it does is it gives American and U.S. Airways a formidable network to really compete with Delta and United.
We're also excited about the excitement that our employees have about this.
The new American Airlines will hire more than 10,000 people at MIA in Fort Lauderdale.
This is a really historic day for us here at American Airlines and for all of our people.
There's going to be a lot of celebrations today, and you're going to see them at the regional offices. There's definitely going to be a big celebration today in Tempe.
This merger is a good thing because it's job security, because it's going to offer many more options in their career. We want the new American to succeed as much as anyone.
I couldn't be more excited about the promise of our combined airline, and I look forward to working alongside the best team in the industry as we take off as the new American.